Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you are doing amazing today. In this tutorial, we are going to build something very practical and modern. An international phone number input with country flags, styled with React Bootstrap and fully validated with a very popular library called libphonenumber-js. This is the exact kind of feature you'd see on real-world websites. When users need to enter their phone numbers, whether for sign up, login, or even for verification system. We are going to start from the scratch step by step and I will explain every line of code. So even if you are a beginner, you can follow along with us. By the end of this video, you will not only have a clean working phone number input field, but you will also understand how to use Bootstrap with React, how to install and use third-party libraries, and how to validate user input right away. So grab a cup of coffee, open your editor, and let's dive in. Alright, before writing any code, we need to make sure our environment is ready. React requires Node.js and NPM. NPM stands for Node Package Manager. So let's check if you already have them installed. Open Git Bash or your terminal and type node-v. This command shows the version of Node installed in your computer. If you see something like version 18 or 20, you are good to go. After that, we need to type npm-v. This shows the version of npm. Usually npm comes bundled with the Node.js, so if Node is installed correctly, then npm will also be available. If you don't see these versions, that means you need to download and install Node.js from the official website. Don't worry, it is free and straightforward. Alright, now that we have a node and npm ready, let's create our project. I like to stay organized, so let me move into the desktop first by typing change directory desktop / dev code. Perfect. Now we are ready to create our React app. We will use the create React app command which setups everything for us. So let's type npx create React app and then our project name. Here npx runs the package without installing it globally. Create React app is the tool and my app is the name of the project. You can call it whatever you like. This step might take a couple of minutes because it installs all the dependencies, but once it is done, we will move into the project by typing change directory my app. Alright, now let's open it inside Visual Studio Code. If you have a VS Code installed, simply type code space dot. The dot means open the current directory, and just like that, your React project is ready and open in VS Code. Alright, let me set up the VS Code a little bit so you can see everything clearly. After that, I'm gonna open the terminal inside VS Code by pressing Ctrl and tilde button, and it's gonna open the terminal inside VS Code. Now let's install the libraries we will need for this project. We want Bootstrap for styling, React Bootstrap for easy integration, country flags for phone input with a country flag, and libnumber.js for validation. So we're gonna type npm install React Bootstrap, then again Bootstrap, and we need libphonenumber.js, and after that React country flag. This might also take a minute or two. Once it is done, we are ready to start coding. Alright, so we have installed all the required libraries in our application as you can see in package.json file. Before we start writing our component, let's connect a Bootstrap to our application. Open the file called index.js. At the very top, import Bootstrap style like this. And that's it. Now every Bootstrap class we use will be applied correctly in our project. The next step we have to create our component. So I'm going to create a new file. Let's give it a name phone input with flag.jsx. Now we will work inside the app.js. First, let's clean up the boilerplate code that comes with React. Remove everything inside the app.js. Then at the top, let's import our component. Here we are bringing in the phone input component that we created earlier inside our source folder. By importing it, we can use it like a normal React tag in our main app. Then after that, inside the app function, we create a handler function called handle phone. This function simply receives the phone number information and logs it to the console for now. Later, we could expand this to save the number to state, send it to an API, or run validation checks. Now in the return statement, we render our phone input with flag component. We are passing two probes here, initial country, which set the default country flag to the US, and on change, which connect to our handler so that whenever the user type or changes their number, the new info will gets captured. And finally, we export the app so React can render it in the browser. Next, I'm gonna type the npm start command in the terminal so we can run our local server, and it's gonna open our project in the browser. As you can see, for now we have a blank page, which means our component is working. In the next step, we will work inside the component, so let's jump to the component file. First, we will test this component to make sure it is connected and working. So I'm going to define our component and export it. Then in return, I will create a testing heading, and it's working perfectly. Alright, so at the very top, we are importing everything we need. So what is actually happening here? We import React along with hooks like useState and useEffect. From React Bootstrap, we bring in form elements, input groups, dropdowns, and layout helpers like card, container, row, and column. We also import React country flag to display flags visually. And from libphonenumber.js, we bring in as you type for formatting as the user type, and parse phone number from string for validation. Next, let's define a small country dataset that we will use in our dropdown. This is a lightweight example list. Each country has a name, an ISO 2-letter code, and a dial code. In a real-world project, you would replace this with a complete dataset, but for our demo, this is covers multiple region and make the input realistic. After that, inside the component function, we look for initial country in our list. If it is not found, we just fall back to the first country. And because this is functional component, it accepts two probes. The first one is initial country, which by default is United States, and the second one is on change, which is callback function that fires whenever the user types or change their inputs. Inside the component, we also set up some initial states like the country stores the currently selected country, raw value stores whatever the user types, is valid is a boolean that tracks if the number is valid or not, and E164 stores the standardized phone format, and Intel format stores the international display format. Next, we use the use effect hooks. This effect runs every time the user switches countries. Whenever that happens, we rerun validation on the current input so the number formatting stay consistent with the new country. Now here is the core function validate and emit. Inside this function, we create an as you type instance passing the current country code. This gives us a smart formatting, so if you type digits, they are automatically spaced and grouped like a real phone number. We then call .input function with whatever the user type and store the formatted version. After that, here we are trying parsing the number for the selected country. So if it is parses and is valid, we mark it as a valid. Update both formats and call on change function with all the useful information, including validity, E164 format, international format, and the country code. And if that is not valid, we will move to a fallback checking. Next, inside the else, what this line does is try to parse the phone number without forcing a specific country. Next, inside the else, we create another if else statement. Now we check if this globally parsed number is valid. This means if the parsing worked and the number is recognized as a real valid phone number, then we move forward. We set our is valid state to true so the app knows this number is passes validation. Then we store the number in the standard E164 format, that is the international phone number format used by most telecom system and APIs. After that, we store a more human readable version of the number. This way, we have both the machine friendly format and the user friendly format as well. And finally, we trigger the onChange callback, sending all this useful information back to the parent component, the validity status, the E164 number, the international format, and the country code. This makes our component reusable because the parent app can now use this data however it's needed. And if the number is not valid, we move into the else block. This simply reset everything back to safe state. First, we mark is valid as a false, telling the app that the current input does not pass validation. Then we clear out the E164 format by setting it to an empty string because we don't want to keep an invalid value. And same goes for the international format. We reset it to blank so nothing confusing shows up. And finally, we call on change callback again, but this time we send back a clean object that says, hey, the number is invalid. No E16 format, no international format, just return the country code so the parent app knows what's selected. This way, whether the number is valid or not, our parent component always gets a feedback, making this input reliable and easy to integrate anywhere. Finally, we call setRawValue function. This keeps the input box updated with a nicely formatted version of whether the user type. So even if the number is invalid, it always shows in a clean, consistent way. In the next step, we will start working on the UI. Inside our return, we build a layout using React Bootstrap. After that, we use a full fluid container with a flex and full viewport height. This makes the layout responsive and centered vertically. Next, we add the row that center everything horizontally and vertically, ensuring our card is perfectly placed in the middle of the screen. Then we use a column that takes half the width on the medium screen and one third on the large screen, keeping the form nicely balanced. Finally, we place everything inside a bootstrap card with the shadows, no border, and rounded corner, giving it a modern and clean look. Inside our card, we add a body section and then we add a title centered with some margin at the bottom. After that, we add a form inside the card body. This keep our input structure and ready for validation. Here we define a form group with a control ID. This makes the input easier to manage and reference later. Inside the group, we place an input group. This will let us combine multiple elements like the country flag drop-down and the phone number text box neatly in one line. After that, inside our group, we start with the drop-down. This will let the user pick their country. Here we add the toggle button for the drop-down. We style it with an outline secondary look and use flexbox to align items, which is perfect for displaying a flag and dial code side by side. Next, this uses the React Country Flag library to display the flag of the currently selected country based on its ISO code. We also style it with a fixed size so it stays neat inside the button. After that, we build a drop-down menu where all countries will appear. We give it a max height with scroll so the list doesn't take over the whole screen. And then we loop through the countries array creating a drop-down item for each country. When clicked, it sets the selected country and the active one in highlighted. Inside each item, we show the flag, the country name, and the dialing code, all neatly aligned. Next to the drop-down, we add our actual phone input. We set the input type to telephone, which is ideal for phone numbers. The placeholder gives users an example format. The value is tied to our raw value state, so it always shows the latest formatted input. Whenever the user types, validate and emit runs instantly to format and validate the number. Finally, we add a small feedback box with the input group.text. It shows a green valid check mark if the number passes validation, or if it is not, then it's gonna show the red invalid. Below the input, we add a small muted text section to show extra details. If the number is valid, it displays the formatted international version and the raw E164 code. Otherwise, it show a helpful hint telling users they can type or even paste a full international number. Now that our phone input with flags and validation is ready, it's time to test this in a browser so we can see how it's look and how it's work. So let's jump to the browser. Alright guys, so I'm gonna insert some numbers inside the input field, but first let me select a country and as I type, so let me remove this and now let me type. So when I type, it will validate until it's find the right number. Now let's try with another country. So I'm gonna select another country from here. So let me change number and as I change number, it validate that number. So if we have a invalid number, it will show a red invalid, and if we have a accurate number, it will show a green valid. And that's it. We have successfully built a modern international phone number input with a country flags, live formatting, and real-time validation using React, Bootstrap, and libphonenumber-js library. This is a professional feature you will see in many real-world applications, from signing up forms to checkout pages. And if you find this helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more coding tutorials. Drop a comment if you want me to cover any topics or if you have any suggestion. I would love to hear from you. Thanks for watching and I will see you in the next video.